Hi guys, thanks for joining me this evening, Monday evening, just gone 7 o'clock. I always leave a couple of minutes so a couple of guys can come on and, as I say, it's be silly to talk to an empty audience, wouldn't it? So I just wait for a few minutes for a few more guys. Although I tell you what I do notice, I notice a lot of people will view this live stream later. Like last week, I think I had about 70 or 88 people watching, and then within the next day, it was over 1,000 had seen it. So, right, who we got you all together? Hi, James Clint. Yeah, I'm not too bad, mate. Hope you're well as well. Thanks for joining. Dave P62. Good evening, Clive. Same to you, Dave. Thanks for coming. Oh, Neil Smith. Hiya, mate. Okay. Nice to see some old faces on here again. I don't know if you've seen what I was just doing. I was just, I got an order for a couple of bat floats. And, Dave Callum, hiya, mate. Are you okay? Nice to see you. Thanks for joining. So I got a couple of orders for some bat floats. And I don't know, I think I may have mentioned it before because the original bat float was like a triangle shape. And, the problem is with that, what I found, when you held it back tight, this tip bit would come up to the surface, so you couldn't quite get the right presentation. So what we've done at a later date is actually prolong the elevation so that when that's held back, there's less chance of that riding up to the surface. Maverick, good evening, mate. Nice to see you. Kevin Rogers, hi, mate. Nice to see you. I hope you're well. Yeah, I'm supposed to take the clutch out of an Apple 501. Yes, it is. Well, actually, when I told you, no, it's a 506. You got me out then. No, 501 is actually it should automatically wind backwards anyway. So I don't think you'll find a clutch in there. The only clutch you've got is when you tighten it up on the outside of the reel. But if it doesn't wind backwards, then you haven't got a 501. You might have a 506, but with a 501 rim on it, black rim. But check that anyway. If it doesn't wind backwards, if it is a 506, you can take the clutch on the inside out. You have to take it apart and just take the inside rim out, take the little ratchet out, and then just put it back. It's easy enough job to do, to be honest with you. Gary Webb. Before you start the pitch out, there's a fellow Cardiff City fan. Should we sack Mick McCann? Well, do you know what? When he first, I know we're not talking about fishing, but I'll just answer Gary because I follow Cardiff City like everybody else. And what I noticed, Gary, that he started off great, didn't he? Like all managers, and in the end, he's look at him now, they're losing all their matches. So yeah, yeah. Okay, let's get back to fishing. So when I make this float, as you can see, now the idea, of course, is when you hold it back, you can slightly overshot it, and you can, because of the thinness of it, it's like a rudder blade, and you can actually hold it against the flow, and you can inch it down the swim with a rod and line. You can use a pole, of course. Initially, I remember, a couple of years ago, I think. Who was it? One of the guys, anyway, was next to me. And he wondered how I was managing to sort of hold my float further down the stream than the pole. Well, this is the way to do it, You can put that on a rod and line and just a good little float. You can make these. They're quite simple, really. I mean, I make them, but the tricky bit, of course, is to splice it. Make sure you put your your tip in, and obviously your stem, which is a carbon one, and then you've got to put a little eye in there, and I've cocked that one up a little bit. Took a big chunk out of it, but yeah. But that's how you do it then. And then you have your rubber there, there, and there, and your eye on there, and that goes up to the main line. There you are. Okay. Anyway, just as I say, you caught me just in the middle of doing that. Right then. I'd like to start off start where we finished really last week. I know when I fished the Y, I think you saw the vlog on the Y, and it was interesting because it was the first of the winter leagues, and through past experience, we know that the bleak always show. Now, I drew up on the A section, as you know, and that's normally not the best area, but I knew that they were bleak all the way through. And, it's funny because there was me and a couple of lads who in the know who sort of just had a look if the bleak were there before trying anything else. And of course, if they're there, you're going to go for them. GMAC, you have to. And the lads who done that, they were on top of the game and they had some big weights. Unfortunately, our team, I told them, I said, don't forget the bleak. I don't think anybody fished for bleak in the end. Or they might have had a little go, but you can't, in my experience, you can't suddenly go on them. I know some people do. They'll fish maybe the first hour and then go on the bleak, which is okay as long as you're catching fish, chub and that. Hadrian Whittle, the best man on there, he does that sometimes. He'll go for the chub and first or dace and then switch quickly. But generally, you have to finish and start to get big weights. But I want to just I made a couple of notes from it, and I know let's have a look. Irvin Hornby, I don't know if you're watching, but I know you made a request, and the request was, can I do a feature on the Y, of the venues? Well, I don't know if you know, I've already done a written feature, well, it's over 10 years ago now, on the Belmont stretch, and on there I mentioned, I go through each swim, how they fished historically, and the best way to sort of approach them, during the season. Now, the Y sort of at Belmont, it changes quite drastically, really. When you start off, as I mentioned, bleak, then what will happen then, the following week or two, the roach start moving in, and then the dace move in, and then the chub move in, and then the perch move in. So you get like little waves of fish that sort of come up into that sort of section. Now, I know they had a match this Sunday. It was a little club match. I think it was one between the Bridges, which is a favourite peg, 1996, and that was, he had chub. I think the next weight was bleak. I think Paul Bick had a weight, 46 pound or something. But because it was like a club match rather than an open match, a lot of them just fish for big fish. But if you had bleak, they would have made the frame. They would have had good weights. But now, as I said, about making a feature, if you go to angling-news.co.uk, you see that I've got a breakdown on all the swims at Belmont. Now, saying that, I would like to do, I think that is a good idea, actually, of Irvin, and that is to do a feature on the venues, because he said he doesn't know how to get to the venues, and he's not sure where he has to go and that. Well, the safest bet is to go to Woody's Tackle Shop in the middle of Hereford, and he'll put you right on it. But to do a feature would be a good idea, because there are more stretches than just the Belmont stretch. So okay, Irvin, I shall take that on board, and maybe something I can possibly do. Let me just adjust this camera a little bit. That's better. Right, okay. We got you now. It's come on. Michael Newton. Hiya, mate. How are you? Clive, if you were told you had one last match, which was a team match of 5 team, which would you choose, and who would you choose as your 4 teammates? That's a good question. I'll have to have a real think about that one, because over the years I've only ever stuck with one club, Cardiff Nomads, and I got fond memories of good anglers who I fished with. In our heyday, we were winning everything years ago. But I suppose if I had to go back, I would go back, to the original team that we fished in the World Championships on Luddington. And on there, we, as you know, we come third, and I was third on the first day. But it was great, because it was the first time for the World Championships, and the bunch of lads come from the North Wales. Keith Bean, which sadly passed away. Phil Davis, he's still around, good angler. There was Ken Hornsey, who doesn't fish anymore. And Richard Bainton, who again don't fish anymore. And there was myself and Richard Candy. He was the reserve, and he's still around, but he doesn't fish as much. But that was a great team in the day, and we did fish as a team, and we done well, and we stuck together for a couple of years after that in the World Championships. Before new anglers come into it. But I suppose if I look back, Michael, but you have to give me more time to think on that, because it's a long question, and as you say, some good lads I fished with over the years. As I said, I've always stuck with the one club. I may have guested for another club. I remember I asked to fish for Daiwa once, me and Clive Roberts many years ago, Gordon, but we didn't, we stuck with Nomads, and that was it, So they were nice question. No, thanks, Michael. Stuart Nicola, mate. Good evening, Clive. Have you ever tried elderberry as a hook bait while fishing Tesnem? Now, it's funny you should say that, because I did mention this once before. I was over on the Bristol Avon many years ago, and I remember there was elderberry trees there on Newbridge, actually on the river. And somebody said we should try that, because there's a couple of local lads. Now, we did try it. We did catch a few fish, but it felt a bit slow, especially they're soft, and sometimes you strike and it comes off, and but I haven't really given it a good go, but I'm sure it would work, and I know it is a good bait to use in conjunction with the hemp. So yeah, good question, but I have tried it, but I not often, if you know what I mean. Just that once, I think, if I remember. But yeah. Michael Newton, Clive, in your angling career, which is the worst case of cheating you have ever seen? Oh my God, that's a good one. That I've seen. Well, as you know, in my 50-odd years of fishing, I've seen some things. Which is the worst? Oh, I got to tell you this one. I got to never forget. I was only youngster at the time, and a guy named Jerry Bailey was from the Midlands, and anyway, he came down the River Taff fishing. And I was a bit like a greenhorn then, and then didn't have much clue. But anyway, I was mixing some ground bait up, and I didn't quite mix it right. It was a bit sort of dry. Anyway, I threw a little ball in the swim, and as I did, a bit of it broke off, and it sort of flew in the air. It was a very windy day. So anyway, Jerry now was catching, quite well below me, and anyway, so I thought, I know what I'll do. I said, Jerry, I shouted, and as he did, he looked round, and I threw this ground bait up in the air, and it blew, and it went down into his eyes. And he said, Clive, I've been around the country and I've seen some bloody tricks. He said, but that's the worst one I've come across. Never again. That was a good one. But what other? I got a few more. I'll have to think about that one as well, Michael. I've seen some underhanded stuff. In fact, I know one angler, Brian Webb from Gloucester. He actually saw a well-known angler cheating, and he pleaded not to be to keep it to himself. And anyway, Brian decided, well, you can't do that. You just have to pack up fishing, and he did, which is a shame, really. When somebody cheats and they get caught out, and they plead not to. Who are you cheating? You're cheating your fellow anglers. You're cheating yourself. What's the point? I can't see the point of that. But anyway, I'll have to have a little think on that, Michael. Neil Smith, when was the last time you used Bloodworm in a match, Clive? And do you ever scrape it yourself these days? Well, as you know, Neil, many years ago, we used to scrape Bloodworm. We used to have a great little Bloodworm venue down in the Vale of Glamorgan. And we used to, it was tremendous. We used to scrape, maybe a gallon in an hour and a half. It was great. And we used to fish a lot of the matches. And I remember we all went up the Gloucester Canal on one particular match, team match of 8. 7 of us won our sections using it. Well, you can imagine what happened the following week. It got banned. They wouldn't allow Bloodworm anymore. But the last time I used it, probably, I don't know. been a few years ago now. Yeah, I'll tell you another story. Actually, two stories about bloodworm because it was, in them days it was great bloodworm fishing. I won the Nance international festival using bloodworm. Funny enough, beating the French at their own game. But I fished a bloodworm on the Waggler of all things. And I never get at Round Day Park on a home international one. So next to my mate Bob Nudd, and he started off, and everyone was behind him, and he had about 30 odd people, and only had one or two behind me. Anyway, halfway to the match, I'm bagging up because, as I said, in them days, we used to scrape our own bloodworm, and it used to be the best you can get. Anyway, I had the fish queuing up, and I ended up with 17 pound to Bob's couple of pound, and of course, but I used to love bloodworm fishing. Of course, the problem is these days we're not allowed to fish it. It's hard to compete on international level without using it on a regular basis because there's lots of things you got to get to know. It's a practice with it mainly, hooking it quickly. We learn lots of tricks like pinching them together, and then quickly doing that, and you'll hook them quick rather than trying to find the second segment down. There's lots of other ways. The little band, funny enough, I don't know if you've seen that video, where you put a band on the hook and you open the band and you can actually pinch the bloodworm on it. So you got a bunch of bloodworm on the hook. Yeah, so it's great old days, the old blood. But no, I can't remember last time I used it. No, it's been a few years now because we don't get the demand for it. I mean, we just don't fish those matches, do we? Which is a shame. Anyway, okay. Gary, Clive, I've always wondered if the Nomads had yourself, Spud, Lee Edwards, Rich Candy, and Bainton all fishing in your prime, you could have been unbeatable. Funny enough, Gary, you should say that because my friend Clive Rouse, we were talking about this the other day. And when we look around, all the Welsh lads who fish for us, who, as you say, Spud and people like that, and they fish for other teams now. But if we could have stayed together, you're quite right. We could have had a tremendous, Welsh team, representing, if you like, Cardiff or something. When you think of some of the names that are out there, but unfortunately, it's like competition and, personality clashes don't always get on. But yeah, it'd been good. Spud and Lee, for example, top anglers, but together they don't mix. But there Richard Baton, great angler as well. Yeah, all in their prime, it could have been a really good team. Anyway, we're digesting that bit now. So, Alan Davis, what's your best ever match win, Clive? Oh, Alan, I don't know. When? What year? When I become world champion, or when I won the South of England pole championships, or was it? I don't know. There's quite a few, to be honest, Alan. But I suppose the world championships always going to be my best win, wasn't it? When you think about it. I mean, coming runner-up the year before I won it was a great achievement, really. I don't know if you know the story, but they changed the rules after I won it, and over the 2 days it was over 2 days, and you added up the section points. Well, under the old, I actually won the world championship second day 2 years, twice after that. So if you work that out, I could have been 4 times world champion under the old rules, but of course things change, and they didn't. I was second best weight in Hungary, for example. Didn't get a mention, didn't get a medal, but I could have been like a world champion then. So yeah, there's lots of matches. I can think back and which was the best one, but you got to say the world championships, haven't you, really? Okay, Stuart Nichols, hiya. I mean, what's the largest fish you've ever taken by a pike? And what's the biggest pike you can recall? Don't talk about pike to me. Oh my God, what am I going to do about pike? Anyone got some suggestions? I thought I had the answers, but I haven't. I think pike is just becoming a bloody nuisance everywhere now. When I talk to other anglers, but I do tend to attract more of my fair share for some reason. In fact, I'm going to mention something now about that. Which but I suppose the biggest fish is taken. I won't go far wrong with yesterday. Actually, I had a nice skimmer, perhaps the biggest skimmer on. Must have been pound and a half, and that bloody pike took that bloody thing. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say that. Biggest pike, I never land them. I don't try to land them if I can help it. I know some of the lads will take their time and land them, but I don't. What's the point? They don't count. Just bloody pull them off, like just pull them until the line snaps. Or quite often, I tell you what happens. Some they let go of the fish sometimes. I know with their teeth they're sort of inwards, so they are difficult to let go. But sometimes if you put pressure on them, and you're trying to like a tug of more, you can sometimes get your fish back. So there's a little tip. I don't know if that's any help. But anyway. Okay. Michael Newton, Clive, if you were only allowed one bait on a river, which would it be? Bait. Do you know what, Michael? I'm actually a maggot man. I know a lot of people use casters and hemp and that. I do like fishing the bread. I mean, I quite often fish the bread on the Wye and, even bread punch on the Walkshaven places. But I suppose I've always been a maggot man, really, to be honest with you. Oh, what's happened, James? The stream is froze. Oh, I don't know. It may be your computer or your phone, James. If anyone else got that same problem, let me know because as far as I can see, I'm getting loads of questions coming up. So I don't know. Might be on your side that James. Michael again. Clive, if in your career is the most innovative product to hit the market, well. It depends what you say. Innovation product. Now, when I think back, I would probably say our fishing line. I think, when you think back, because I don't know if you know the story, but for many years it was just a plain line. There was like Bayer, or there was Maxima, and there was a couple of other lines like what was the other one? Oh, can't think of the names now. But anyway, there was only a few out there. And then what happened when we fished World Championships, we were introduced to finer lines, double strength lines, and I got, if you like, I was asked by Water Queen, a company Water Queen, to promote it into the country. And as far as I'm concerned, that was an innovation, the best innovation ever. To get lines which were supple, which were half the diameter, twice as strong, and then but all I can tell you, it was difficult to get into the marketplace because I, as a tackle dealer at the time, I was go around the tackle shops to try and get it into the shops, and none of the tackle shops would take it on board. The odd one would, but a lot of them wouldn't, and it took a long time to get onto the market. But you look in your box now, everyone uses double strength line, thinner lines compared with the old one. So that was probably the biggest innovation of all, I would think. There's lots of other innovations, of course. I mean, the developments of poles, rods, and reels, and a lot of floats, ground baits. There's lots of innovations, really. But I think that line was probably the biggest, to be fair. Right, Kevin, how do you set up a whip connect to your rig? I think you asked me that last time, Kevin. So I didn't answer you that. But basically, right, let me tell you, my own personal view now is that you're better off, rather than use a flick tip, and that is to use a hollow tip with elasticated internal elastic. I tell you why, because even with a flick tip, the softest flick tip, sometimes you're restricted. Okay, they work well when you're catching small fish and that, but what happens if you hook a bigger fish and then all of a sudden it goes, right? Now, I can tell you this through experience, fishing the dock, for example. When we're fishing for these roach and all of a sudden a mullet comes along, you'd have no chance to land them if you haven't got elastic in it. Now, I've also noticed when I'm bleak fishing, when you're bleak fishing, because you catch them different sizes, the elastic will come out, sort of various lengths out of the tip. But I tell you what, it feels much easier when you strike. If you actually strike it too hard, the elastic will buffer it, and it's that's my own personal view. But if you're going to use, as I say, a flick tip, then the best thing, if you can imagine, you got your tip. How can I explain it? Yeah. Let's say there's your tip. Do you see that? Right. Let's say that's about 12 inches. What you do is put a rubber there, a rubber in the middle, and a longer piece of rubber on the top. And what you do, first of all, you put your rubber on the line, you put your rubbers on there, you put the bottom rubber there, then you twist the line around, and then you put your second rubber, and then you twist it again, and then you have your longer piece of rubber coming out of the tip, and then of course that goes to your rig. And now the advantage of that, of course, is that you can always pull this line. You can shorten it by pulling it from this end, or you can lengthen it by pulling it out if it's an inch or two. And in fact, I was watching Adrian Whittle's video not the other week, and he says exactly the same about how to attach it. But that's the way to do it, to be fair, and that's the best way. But have a little look at that internal elastic, because that might be a better solution. And that way, then you can put a stomper rig on the end, you know. Okay. Andrew, oh, it's okay there. Oh, thanks for that, Andrew. Yeah, I think I noticed James Flynn, he's gone off the line now, so I think he's got a problem on his end, I think, rather than this live stream. Right, Neil, do you tie hooks by hand or hook tire? No, I do by hand, Neil. I'll tell you why. Funny enough, I had a little party piece many years ago. I can't do it now. So you get a size 32, put it behind my back, and actually tie a spade end. You know, I could do it, but that was my party piece. And when I was a rep, I used to go around the tackle shops, and I used to sort of challenge anyone with a hook tire, you know, the tackle shop owner or an angler, to tie it quicker than I can tie by hand. And they couldn't beat me. You know, it's a lot easier. And, you know, it's more precise. You don't get no kinks with it, you know, and, you know, you can, well, you know, it's much easier. I've done a video of that. So if you check out one of my YouTube videos, you might see that I've actually shown you how to do it. But yeah, tying by hand, mate. Right. Let's have a look. I missed any questions, right? Right, Stephen Cooksey. Right, hi, mate. I once had a 4 pound plus barbel, took sideways on at the Atcham, and on the 7, it was only under my feet, and the weed was all over, 3 foot long. I didn't get it in. No. Right, yeah. Well, you know, I know pike will take their own species, and they will, if it fits in their mouth, they'll have it, won't they? You know, that's the bloody thing about it. Yeah. Stuart Nichols, Clive, have you ever tried colour dyeing bread with food colour, red or yellow? Maybe turmeric might work. Do you know what? Never have, Stuart. That's a new one on me. Would it work? Yeah, I do. I've tried brown bread before, but the idea, of course, bread is white and it stands out, and you know. And my theory behind that is that people feed ducks and swans, and the fish know what it is. You know, they know white ground meat, don't they? And they know white bread. I mean, so yeah, no, something I haven't tried that, but it might work on a punch. You know, different shades. You never know. It might work. Okay. Steve Hughes, I made absolutely brilliant videos. Oh, thanks. Whether you do well or not, or bad, you always have a chuckle. Keep a very real vlog. My question is, Barlow or Topper? Right. Depends on the venue. But thanks, Stephen, for your remarks there. Yeah, you know, funny enough, it was in my little notes here because where was this? I got to tell you. Oh yeah, it was on the Clive Smith. And who was it? Oh yeah, Raymond Hayes. He says it's nice to see someone else has the same problem when you hook yourself. I don't know if you see that. He hooks it up here somewhere. I'm sort of trying to get it. And you know what? And I said to him, I said, yeah, how many other vloggers who make vlogs have cut that bit out? I don't. So why? You know, it happens. Hey, we're not all 100%. We all have little, you know, mistakes, little tangles. And like in my vlogs, you see it all, you know, warts and all, as far as I'm concerned. So yeah. You know, I don't cut anything out. What you see is what you get with me, you know. Right. What's right, Andrew W. Okay. What's your biggest fish caught in Thailand? Clove. A mate of mine, I got to tell you about that name, Clove, because he calls me Clove because his name is Ian, spelled E-A-U-N, I think. I always spell it Ian, Ian, he was mad about it. But yeah, my biggest, Siamese. I am caught one of those alapam. Oh yes, I have. Yeah, I did catch alapama. Yeah, 45 pound, but Siamese 35. Not a huge fish, but big enough. Um, yeah. I'll talk to you a little bit about Thailand later, actually, because I got some news for everyone, which I shall tell you later. Um, Andrew, yeah, Clive. Okay, that was a little typo then. I know. um, let's have a look. Michael, have you ever been in a match which was banned for bad weather or anything else? Well, funny enough, yes, once. It's in Switzerland in the World Club Championships. We're all fishing away now, and all of a sudden a big klaxon goes off. But we were warned because of the weather. Apparently, there was thunder on its way, lightning. And they said if it comes, there's a klaxon will go off. We all got to pack our, put our fishing tackle down, and we all had to retreat to a barn, which was in the field. And you can imagine it did happen, and we all packed up. We we didn't pack, we just put our gear down. And when it passed, we all went back fishing. They restarted the match. But yeah, that's the only time. Don't think anywhere else. But I can imagine it probably happens a few times, especially with the weather we get. Yeah. So yeah, that was the time I did. So Stuart again. As a kid on my local dam, 2 pegs away, fished well on bread for roach. The pegs were near the roadside entrance where people would always feed the ducks. Exactly. That's what I'm saying to you. But it's funny because I mentioned this, I think, last week about chub fishing, for bread. And you can be in the wilds of the Y somewhere, but the bread will still work. Not that they've ever, well, maybe people feed ducks and swans out in the country. I don't know, but they know what it is, don't they? They know what bread is, and I suppose the same with bread punch, But the fish do get used to it. Okay, right. No more questions for the minute. Right. Let me get back to last week. So no, I think Anquilla, I think that's how you pronounce it. He said, little tip here. He said, old maggots. Why not use old maggots? He's quite right there. Yeah, that's another little tip for bleak fishing. Old maggots last longer, and in fact, I had a well-known angler. I don't know if you ever know anyone. Chalky. Well, he actually messaged me because he watched the video last week, and he said he don't like to ask questions, but he messaged me. So if you're watching, Kevin, if you're watching now, Chalky, but he did ask. And he's quite a very good angler. He's always in the frame, and you're always learning. He said that was interesting what he said about shaking them off and then hooking, and so we can always learn things. And old maggots, we used to use old maggots, week old maggots, because they're tougher and they do sort of last longer. And now Chalky mentioned that he could see his bleak, and he was saying that the bigger bleak were shying off the suck maggot, which was interesting because I find they generally don't. But he said they were, so he had to rebait quite a lot, more often than he would have liked to. But usually, but he did notice that they, like those bigger bleak, were further out. But all maggots would definitely probably would be better for hook, for the hook. So that's a little tip as well. Also, P May 222. Right. What to say? Yeah. Right. He did notice, about the. The bleak being further out, and they were sort of, but of course, being further out, right? The problem is, it's further to go out, and it takes that split second longer to get them in and to cast and to keep it going, and I also had a message from was it? Right, Mike Patterson about Hadrian Whittle. How did he amass 74 pound of them? Well, the thing is, he had them as well as being one of the top anglers, for bleak. But everything's got to be perfect. You can't afford to mess up in any way. You really got, and you got to get on your fish. The bigger bleak, the kippers, you need to be out in the water. Now he's got an octopus system, and he gets right out in the water. And I notice all these top bleak anglers, that's what they do. They get right out in the flow where the bigger bleak are. And of course, that means if you're catching bigger bleak and they're in closer to you, if you know what I mean, then you can obviously build up these bigger weights. And I think that is the secret, in getting those that little edge and getting that extra weight. So yeah. So anyway, so that's answered those two questions. I hope, Mike and P May. Right. Also, Septic. That's a name for you, isn't it? He's one of our followers, and he mentioned about minnows. Now, why aren't minnows allowed in a match? Well, and I replied to him. I said, well, perhaps the people who ban them are the people who can't catch them. Now, the only trouble is, and we're talking about cheating early on, they are very prone to being caught in a net. People were starting. The trouble is you can tell the difference between net minnows and actually ones you catch, because net minnows you're going to get those little things like that in the net, and you can tell. There's lots of tricks with that. You just put ground bait in a net and you wait for them to go over and just lift the bloody net up. I know but if you catch a legitimate minnow, I think they should be counted, because they made a decision in that winter league not to allow them. Now, many years ago, when we used to fish our canal matches and the Y in particular, Belmont, a minnow was the only salvation to stop a dry net. And we learned how to catch minnows. And I'll tell you now, it is an art, because first thing you need to do is get the right hook size. Now, you can get a size 24 and you squeeze it in to make a 32, if that makes sense. So you get your hook and you pinch it right in, obviously like that. Then you get either a head of a maggot, a pinky, just to put just on the point. And what you do, you actually watch the bait and you wait for it to disappear, and you lift it, and you got your minnow. And you just get one or two minnows to save a blank. Some guys, I've seen some guys actually catch a pound of minnows, which is a hell of a lot of weight, and actually on a rod and line, and that's a good weight for the day. So it is an art. I mean, one way we used to catch them, we used to get a caster, and we used to push the hook inside an open caster, and the yolk of it, pull the yolk out, and that used to cling to the to the hook, and you just drop that in the water, and of course a fish could suck that in quite easy, and and again you'd hook it, and you just and that's how you save the blank. So, but there you are. It's a rule they brought in the winter league that minnows can't count. So it's a shame really, but there you are. That's fishing's fishing to me, and no matter whether it's a bloody big carp or a little minnows, or a bleak, it's a fish. Okay then, let's get back to questions. Who's this? Robbie, AK-47. Did you catch any pike this weekend? Yeah, you haven't been watching my vlogs, have you? Yeah, bloody pike. I think it was 16. Had 16 on yesterday. Bloody nightmare. James Flynn, sorted. You're back. Well done, mate. Yeah, I thought because I asked that question, and a few of them said they could still see me. So I guess it was your end then, James. Andrew Card, hey mate, evening. Right, like your latest vlog at Port Talbot Docks. I'm hoping to get there on Sunday soon. Oh, that'd be good. Well, that might be my last match at the dock this season, and I'll tell you why later, Andrew. But if you do go, and I am there, I'll be nice to see you. But you'll enjoy it. No matter what methods you try, you might be lucky enough to win one on your first occasion. But I think you need to go a few times to sort out little tricks on it, Right, Clive 54. Hi, Clive. Want to buy some pike repellent? Yeah, I wish there was such a thing. Going cheap, only a tenner a bottle. Yeah, I wish. Yeah. Well, they say, I've noticed in the shops now, you buy little jack pikes as a lure to catch a pike. God, bloody horrible things. I've gone right off pike, Stuart Nicholas, my hat's up to the lads who caught all those bleak a week or two back. Speed fishing at its best. Yeah, the lads must have been mentally tired and mentally retarded as well. You forgot about that, Stuart. But no, you're right. You got to be very focused, and to catch big weights. I think anyone can do 20, 30 pounds, but to catch 50 pounds, that's the ambition, I think, and that's going some. Michael Newton, Clive, note that you use Abu 5 for flow fishing, which have been around for decades. Have you considered an open fixed spool reel? Yeah, well, Michael, I did mention this once before. I will use obviously a fixed spool reel for ledgering, for feeder fishing, etc. And when I'm chub fishing, heavy chub fishing. But apart from that, no, always an open face, so easy to use, dab button, quick release, quick pick, pin picker, quick line, light, it's got everything going for them. It's a shame that Abu stopped making them all those years ago. They could probably develop and made it slightly better. But I know over the years other companies have tried them and they have improved them slightly a lot. So yeah, no, you there's a big difference, and and that's the reason I use them, to be honest. Neil Smith. I broke the second section of my feeder rod about 8 inches from the bottom. If ever repaired, I will be strong as it. Well, yeah, they usually are. Do you know what? I've had my pole repaired when I've snapped my pole, and the way they use the materials these days, space age technology, the joints are actually stronger, than the actual pole itself. So yeah, my guess is if you have it done right and properly, it will be stronger there. You might lose a little bit of action, but that's a small price to pay, I think. Okay. Carl Ransaya, hiya, mate. If you do go to Thailand, please do some vlogs and film it of the fishing while you're there. Thanks. Yes, I will. And which leads me on. I might as well tell you now that I booked my return trip to Thailand, which will be coming up at the end of November, because next month. Because from the 1st of November, the Thai government, they're going to announce it on the 1st that you won't have to do quarantine. Now, unfortunately, I was hoping to get my wife back from Thailand over to here, but our government is so, they got so many rules and regulations, it's almost impossible to get it here, so I thought what I'll do, and I haven't seen a baby for 2 years, since it was born, since she was born. And it'd be nice to have a little break. Now, my brothers have just booked, and I said, well, book me a ticket. I might as well come and go. So when I'm there, I shall be doing some vlogs. I'll keep the question and answer going, because there's lots of things to talk about in fishing, isn't there? And maybe, yeah, I'll do some. In fact, I want to try and meet up with Billy Makin. You all know Billy. He's a class angler in his day. He's retired over there. There's a couple of other anglers. I'll do a couple of vlogs with them. Hopefully get a match or two with them as well. Show you the proper Thai fishing. I'll be back in the new year anyway, so I won't be going for that long. All depends, obviously what happens and so forth. But yes, I thought, you heard it here first, so there you are. So I booked to go back, all being well. Depends what the government's change their minds, it's like. Okay, Andrew Gard, fished Kessie on Sunday, only had 2 whips, 4 m6. How many whips do you take, and what size do you recommend? Right, Andrew, now whips are cheap, and you can get them. I mean, you can spend a couple £100 on a whip, but you want to get at least 2 of everything, if not 3. And the idea is if you tangle, you don't want to end up wasting time trying to untangle it. You just want to throw it down and get another one. You should have an identical, setup, so you're straight into the fish. You don't mess it around. So yeah, have a forest of them. Have a forest of whips up. I had about 6 or 7 setup. So I had 2 4 meters. You want to get shorter ones, or you want to try and get, even if you use top tips of the pole, old pole tips, get them like 2 meters, because that's what, Whittle and all those top boys, they won't go further than 2.5 meters if they can help it. They'll try and keep it, sort of close in. So that's what you need to do. Just get anything will do. And coming back to what I said about the elastication, you can get a top two of any pole, and it's as light as any whip and as strong, and you can have an internal elastic and use that as whips. So you don't have to go and just because it got whip written on it doesn't mean it's just as good as a pole. Um, Top kits are just as good, just as cheap as well, very cheap. Okay, all right, Carla. Yes, I'll do that, mate. No problem. That'll be good. Oh, you still got some Billy making grades. Oh, bloody hell, that's antique. How old are you then, Clive? Oh, 54. Born in 1954. I know. I can work these things out. Back in. Oh, Billy Mackin. All right. Roger Akers. Where are you fishing this coming week? Right. We're coming up that in a minute. It'll be the Y. It'll be the Winter League. It's the second round. So hopefully there'll be some changes. I've got a feeling the bleak is still going to be there. Although they did say that some roach have moved in and taste. So it depends where you're drawn. And I think the trouble will probably be there as well, the troublets. Depends if we don't have too much rain. So I'm looking forward to a good match this Sunday. Excuse me. Andrew Gadd, yes, I do that with a pole, thanks. Okay. Michael Newton. Clive, final question. Has your vlogs lived up to your expectations, knowing that you know what has been the most difficult part? As you say, when I started making vlogs, a couple of years ago now, when I first done them, I was a bit, I was a bit naive, I suppose. I just put the camera up and made them. But now I realize, you got to edit them. You got to. I mean, I stopped playing the music on them now, like I used to. I used to have music going on them, but maybe I don't know. You let me know if you like a bit of music on them. Like a lead into and a lead out. I used to do that. I know one of the guys last week said, they just enjoy the music. So, if you want that back, just let me know. But yeah, the reason I started doing live vlogs is basically, being a sponsor or being sponsored, or even if you sponsor yourself like I do with my ground baits and floats, etc. I thought I'd start. What you do, you go fishing, you come back in the night, you write down, remember what you've done. Well, the trouble is, I used to forget what I've done, and so by filming myself, I thought I'll remember. But I thought, well, why not show them rather than write them, so it saves me time and effort. I mean, it does take longer than writing them down, I suppose. I don't know, but yeah, I enjoy doing it. Now, the thing is, what I'm going to ask you as well, guys, when you do watch vlogs and you see an advert, do me a favor, just watch it. It might only take you 30 seconds. Watch it, because I actually get paid like a penny or whatever. I mean, last month, now I'll give you a little secret. Now, I earned 200 quid. So, for the month. So it's, getting paid for something I enjoy doing. So, as I say, I do it for the fun of it, but it's nice when you get a little bonus. House with the fishing, don't it? So there you are. So if you can do that for me, that's great. If not, don't worry. As long as you keep following them and you're happy with them. As I say, you can always give me some, if you like, ideas, for me to do. I have come up with one idea, which I won't tell you now because it was told to me today, and in fact, I will tell you. Right. If you just notice, I just put a vlog up, and it's called it's a blast from the past, and it's an old vlog about fishing for beginners. Well, I don't know if anyone aware of this, but I was the first one to ever make any fishing videos with a company called Clean River. They changed their name. They called themselves Pleasure or whatever it was, but it was Clean River Videos. And basically, we made a pilot, 3 or 4 of them, fishing in Denmark. And we made them, made a sort of a match one. We made feeder fishing, a loafer one, and pole fishing, etc. Anyway, and I also made another company come along, and I made a couple with them. And I said to them, I want to make tuition videos. So I made one, fishing for beginners. the trouble was, in them days, it was all about the Waggler, and I just uploaded it. If you haven't seen it, watch it again. I mean, it's a young Clive Branson on there, but things you see there is just as good as they are today. It's all about Waggler fishing, and the good thing about that video is that I talk about the Waggler, and I actually show, catapulting, casting, how to cast properly, how to retrieve it, how to hook maggots, and I also take you to the maggot farm. You can actually see a maggot farm to see how actually maggots are actually bred as well. And one thing about the video, at the beginning of the video, I'm with a chap named Colin Cook. Now, Colin Cook was a great guy. He was he wasn't a tackle shop owner, but he was their assistant. And Colin gave up his life, if you like, his driving job, and he worked for Gary Evans Fishing Tackle. And Colin also was he was a member of the Welsh winning gold medal team in Bulgaria in 1989. Unfortunately, Colin passed away a couple of years, 2 years ago now, and I was in Thailand and I couldn't get to his funeral, unfortunately. But it's nice to see Colin on there, and if you watch the video, you'll see Colin, a great guy, and and it's a nice video to watch. So yeah, watch it again if you haven't seen it. I've done a little comments on the front of it. Now, the idea, coming back to what we just mentioned about making videos, I do intend to make some beginner videos. Now, okay, for you lads, a lot of you lads who are experienced and have done it all before, and probably, but we can always learn. Doesn't matter, you can always learn something. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to make these for beginners. The idea is right from basic stuff, or if you like, from kids all the way through, and I hope to be able to market them then, on online. So there we are. So you've got that from me, and so that's something to look forward to for the future. Right then, let's get back to the. So look, had a question as you right. Okay, yeah. Right, Gary Webb. When bleak fishing, do you feed another line for it if you get tired? Right now. There's a couple of things about that, Gary. Yes, you can. You can see. Well, I tell you what, bleak. A lot of people don't realize this, but you can fish bleak. Right? You can throw your bait there. Quite often they'll go upstream looking for your bait, and quite often you can cast upstream and catch a bleak where you haven't fed. So it is a good idea sometimes to feed a couple of lines, one down, one out, one on, and so on. So yeah, another idea as well, which I should have mentioned before, but you get minnows, they're bloody nuisance mixed with the bleak. If you get some slop, ground bait, and sort of put that on the inside and loose feed it over it, you find the minnows will come. You won't get so much bothered with the minnows so much then. You'll find that they're more attracted to the ground bait. So it's a little tip there for you as well. Okay. Robbie and all right. Okay. Every chance of a pickup then, Clive? You love the Y. Any chance of a pickup then, Clive? You love it? Yeah. Well, of course, the Y is one of my favourite venues. It's this time of the year, yes, an attacking venue. So. Yeah, there's a very good chance there. So, right, who's this? Neil Smith. You enjoyed the music, Clive? Okay, yeah, that's one. Then that's one. I'll have to put a little poll up and see, how many people like it and how many people don't. Okay. Andrew Gad, you're around next time when I see you. Okay. Pedro said, Neil Smith. Yeah, that's right. I had a point of you, didn't I? Neil Smith. Bet you will be on the bread on the Y if you. Yeah, I know I'm talking about bleak, but me, I can't resist it. The whistle will go, out will go the ground bait, and it depends on the water condition on the day. I suppose really. Okay, Stevie Grange, you mentioned the Y for Sunday. Are you fishing Wednesday? No, I won't be fishing this Wednesday. I've got nothing planned, booked, so. I'll give it a little bit of a rest, I think, this week. I'd like to, but you never know. Things change sometimes. Alan Davis, I got all your old videos. Have you, mate? Okay. Yeah. I was younger in them days. A young Clive Branson. but naive, I think. Anyway, thanks for that, Alan. Kevin Moore, what's what's the ideal scenario for fishing a bat floater? Well, usually, well, all any conditions, to be honest with you, Kevin, because generally we use flat floats when the river's up and it's pushing through hard and you want to slow it down. But I can remember fishing a little river, a little stream down our way on the Taff here, and I remember using it there, and I run through a little stick float, and I didn't get, I got a fish out again. I thought, then I put a little bat float on, and I inched it down the swim, and I was getting a fish a chuck. So there's a big difference. So yeah, you can use it anytime, really. When you want to slow it up. I've used it on the Welsh Raven before now, and it's worked well there. Where it's like slowed it right up. When it's flowing a bit. So usually when it's pushing through a bit more, but you can use it any conditions, just to slow the bait up. Okay. Colin was a rascal. Yeah. Colin, a nice guy, Colin. Yeah. Businessman, of course, But there. Right. Let me get back to a couple of other things now. Right. Yeah. Now I fished the Clive Smith's Memorial on Wednesday, and it's a great match to be in. I was lucky to be in it because I only got in at the last minute because I didn't actually put my name down, and it was apparently a bit of a waiting list as well. So, and I think the night before a vacancy came up, so I managed to get in on it. Although I did fish it not last year because it wasn't fished, but I did fish it in the first year, and I did actually come third, I think it was. And anyway, but it's a great match to fish. Now, I hadn't fished the Seven for a few weeks, and of course, after all this rain, it was up. And I drew peg 69. Now, 69 apparently is a fly-in peg. I didn't know this, but when I drew, they said, "Oh yeah, you'd be great there." And I spoke to the guy who actually won off it about 2 weeks previously. Now, he told me he had his majority of best fish on a waggler running down to the rock. There's a rock that comes out in the water, and behind the rock is too rocky to fish behind that. But he caught them above it, so he gave me all the rundown on it. I thought, it's great, Anyway, I got there. Of course, the water's up. I couldn't see the rock, but I could see the current, and I thought, oh, anyway, and I fished it like he told me to. Probably the wrong thing to do because he was just pushing through too hard. If you've seen the video, you know what I mean. I'm casting it down, it's gone. And same on the inside. So really, it was wrong. It was a wrong method to use that day, and I didn't do any good. No, if I could have allowed a feeder on there, apparently it would have been a cracking peg, because there are babble and chub on there. So that was a problem I had there, and also pike. Oh my God, you see pike attacks on that again? Bloody nightmare again. But anyway, yeah. So apparently they've had all their big weights off that peg when it's been low. So unfortunately, I drew the right peg on the wrong day. Again as usual. But I enjoyed. Yeah, I had a couple of pounds, didn't I? And Pete Morris, one of the guys I know well, fair dues, he won it. Great, as you can see on the vlog at the very end. And I'm looking forward and hopefully fishing next year. And I think another guy, John Boa, is it? He said he wants to fish it next year. So yeah. Good. And also Raymond Hayes. He asked a question about I'm not sure, hook. I'm not sure. I'm not sorry, Ray. I can't understand my own question. But anyway, it was a good match. I hope you enjoyed that vlog. And as I said, I did catch a few fish, a few on the stick. Ideally, if this is the thing about match fishing. Afterwards, you can analyze where you've gone wrong and what you should have done. And I realise now, and I spoke to Jeff Brealey of all people yesterday on down Port Talbot, who actually won the match, by the way. He comes from up the Midlands and he fishes a 7. But he was telling me, and he was right, that probably what I should have done is fish a stick float, heavier stick float, and gone in between. There's like a gully there, and I should have probably fished that. But I didn't I didn't know the swim that well, and and he said it's one of his favorite pegs. That's peg 69. So but that's where I should have done. And this is, as I said, it's a great thing about match fishing. You got to try to analyze where you went wrong, and so next time you get it right. And who's that famous quote from Ivan Marx? A successful match angler has to have a memory like a diary. You should be able to flick back the pages to a time where he's encountered the same situation and put it to practice on that day. So that's a lesson learned. But so I learned that, and I know if I drew it again, I know what I do. Of course, if I drew it when it's low, I would fish the way I was told. Otherwise, I would fish a stick to probably hold it back a little bit. But there we are. It's a good match, and it was, enjoyed it. Hey, and I've gone through a bit of a lean patch. I think with that and yesterday, I didn't pick any money up. So, just out of the money again. So coming to Port Talbot yesterday, as I say, it's nice to see some new faces there. Now, one of the guys, Pat, I think Pat's from mine, I think. Yeah. He mentioned, why don't we live bait it? Well, I don't think you're allowed to do that to catch a pike. I know a few of the lads have started taking lures with them, and if they do get a fish or two, they'll try and pike, they'll try and get it out with a lure, but they're not daft. They're not daft. But let me tell you, that peg I drew was a notorious peg, apparently, and peg 15, the one they left out, is even worse. So they left that out for a reason, but that made my peg the next worst peg for pike. As I said, I counted 16. I got through a packet and a half of hooks, right, on the fish. I just feel sorry for the poor fish. At one stage, I didn't want to cast. I didn't want to fish anymore, but you've got to carry on. You've got to try and work it out. So in the end, I was actually trying to hook the fish, reel them on top of the water quickly, and get them in. And but every time I hooked a decent fish, it wouldn't come to the top. And the skimmers, I had the skimmer taken. It's a bloody useless. But I've got to tell you, they said there was an angler down there on Friday who actually fished that peg, and he caught dozens and dozens of pike on live bait. But of course, what he'd done with a pike, I don't know, you must be some sort of nutcase want to fish for pike, but anyway, but he'd done it. And anyway, but I did mention that unfortunately the River Authority in their wisdom decided to put pike in there, which they were never there years ago. We used to never have a problem with pike, and now they're just breeding and they're just growing, and they're just, there's masses of them there now. So it's it's going to change our venue a lot, I think. Even though it's still a good venue, if you can get your fish out, then you still catch fish. Okay. What's this now? All right, yeah. Ashley, Walkman made a suggestion, not to use aniseed to attract the roach and just fish for skimmers. And you're probably quite right there. Forget the roach fishing now, just go for skimmers. That might be the answer. Anyway, okay, well, that's that. Any more questions? Right, Stuart Nichols, can you recommend a boller rod? What's a good manufacturer? Well, the bollers I use are Shimano's. I don't know if you can still get them. Let me see. Oh, there was a question before, wasn't there? Was it a bollo? Who asked? There was a question earlier about a bollo or an avon. Well, they're very similar in respect that they're bogged down and they're good for trotting, but the bollo you can actually hold it back on the surface, where with an avon you got to let it flow more, because if there's no shoulder to hold it back. That's the only difference there, I think. A bollo is usually tips and normally nylon, where an avon, as you know, is crow quill. So which is the best of the two? Depends on the venue, depends on the time of the day, and any wind conditions and that sort of thing. Okay, right. So bolly rods. I don't know if Cadence make one. I'm not sure. I have to look into that one for you, Kevin. So right. For Sunday, fish Wednesday. Right. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up with the questions. Right. Oh yeah, Gary. Do I still hold the record for the taffy? As far as I'm aware, I do, Gary. Yeah. £33, and that was only in I think it was a 3-hour match, that one as well. Yeah. Stuart Nichols, can you recommend? Just another, yeah. James Flynn, vlogs are great. Clive, thanks for your time and effort. And I'll watch the ads from now on if it benefits you. Thanks, mate. I appreciate that. Pete Maran, hi Clive. What's the ratings do you use for fishing the Y7 and Rock Shaver when you're float fishing? What's the ratings do you use? I don't quite understand that question, Peter. Well, what line rating? Sorry. Right. Okay. Well, most well, they do differ a bit, don't they? I mean, obviously the Wog Shaven, you're trying to get away with. I've gone down to 1.5 pound reel line sometimes. About two and a half pound. You could get away with 3, of course. On the Y, you definitely you don't want to go less than 3. Usually 4. And on when you're chub fishing, I'd go 5 or 6 pound. Say. On the 7, now that is in between then, isn't it? So I would probably say 3 or 4 pound. Maybe. So that's what I would do. Maybe some of the locals will do it different. I don't know, but that's what I would do anyway. Okay. AK-47. Do they weigh pike if caught on a worm? Do you know they don't? Many years ago, they used to allow pike in matches, but then we had a match on the River Wye, and one of the guys, if you hook a pike and you land it, I think fair dues. But the problem is you only have to hook one, and you could win a match. And what was happening on the Wye, this one occasion, we thought, well, we allow pike because you're not going to catch 40 or 50 pound pike, No, you will if you catch 3 or 4 of the bloody buggers, because this one guy, he had 3 of them, and they were all 20 pound each. So in the end, he said, "Oh, you can't even allow them anymore." They used to allow them on the Wild Shaven once. I never I forget old Benny on the Wild Shaven at Evesham and Twyford. They used to allow them, but they stopped them when people would target them. When I say target them, I don't mean accidentally jumped on the hook. I mean, they're actually putting reeling in very slowly on very heavy line and big hooks. So yeah, they had to ban them in the end, I suppose. But yeah, they don't count, mate. Unfortunately, I think maybe they should now and again. I think just to even it up a bit. Because if you're skillful enough to land one on fine line, then maybe why not? Yeah. Right. Rob P. Hi, mate. Clive, you're planning to fish Pershore soon. Clive, you planning to fish Pershore soon of these weekends on the beach stretched by the bridge. Okay. Yeah, it's I'm not sure what it's going to be like this time of year with a bit of water, but yeah, no, I think it'll be okay there, Rob. Some great fishing there, I think when we fish there, it wasn't particularly good that day, but it should be okay. I think. Give it a go. Let me know. Alan Davis, what do you think about all those offers being put? All those otters being put on the rivers. Yeah, not too happy about that. Bloody hell! I don't know what you think about that, but I think nature should be left to their own devices, not bloody helping them. I don't know. Maybe they were around hundreds of years ago, but of course it was different in them days, wasn't it? No, I'm not happy with that, mate. I don't know what you think about that. Michael Newton, Clive, in your long career, have you ever known an angler fall in because of drink? Possibly, yeah, but they wouldn't admit it, I suppose. If you haven't read my autobiography, you should read it about my mate Larry Powell. He used to drink. A bloody bottle of brandy before the match, and he jumped in many times, drunk. I don't think he fell in, but he jumped in, deliberately. I'll never get this once. He fell in once, and he stayed under the water and he sort of swam underwater, and he popped up in the next man's swim and said, "Ah!" You can imagine he had a heart attack. You can imagine, watching you float, or somebody jumps up. That was good on that. Anyway, talking about autobiographies, Christmas is coming. And I'm doing a little promoting now, might as well. Don't forget, my book is available on Amazon. Clive Branson, my autobiography. It tells you about my life story, and it's an interesting read. I've had a nice comments of it. One of the guys up the Midlands bought it the other day, and he said, "I cannot believe that I'm still fishing after what's happened to me over the years." And there's some real good things real bad things have happened to me over the years. I can tell you a little bit about the Federation funds that went missing, £250,000 that went. I can tell you, about other things, about rash fishing and little bit, other stuff. But anyway, on Amazon, it's easy to order. Just click, look at Clive Branson, my autobiography, and nice little Christmas present, to yourself. And the other one, it's a smaller book, and it's only £9, I think, £9.99. So, Fishing with Legends. It's all about me fishing with all the legends in my life. Everyone from Bob Nutt, Kevin Ashes, Ray Mumford, Dave Roper, and even some living legends which are still alive now. Because a lot of these have died, of course. But yeah, that's worth again. That's also on Amazon. So there we are. Treat yourself to a little Christmas present. I'll give a hint to the missus about you one. Okay. Okay, where am I? Clive, right. Robbie, yes, mate. Be good to see you around. There's sometime. Okay, yep. Barry, Mill, how are you, mate? Don't think Cadence do a boller rod, but do an 18-foot rod. Okay, that many refer to a dedicated boller. Yeah, you're probably right there, Barry, because with a bolly it's telescopic, and sometimes the action's not quite the same as, say, a 3 or 4 piece rod, is it? So yeah, sometimes an 18-foot rod is as good as a bolly rod. The only reason I say bolly rod, the reason I got a bolly rod, I got a 21-foot one. Now, you're not going to make a 21-foot rod, are you? But with a bolly, you can. It's a Shimano one. So yeah, that's good. Good question. That Robbie, going to buy the stick float and maggot will give you. So how we went. Okay, mate. Steve, hi, mate. Used to get small packets of aniseed powder, that's right, in the tackle shops in the 80s, and used to catch kilos of roach. Do you see anything like it on your bait? Can you still get? Yeah, yes, mate. I do. Well, as you know, on my ground baits, I did show last live stream. I showed you the aniseed stars, which I put through a mill, which I grind down to a powder, and that's what I use in my ground bait mixes. I was selling it neat as well, but the trouble is it's gone through the roof. We used to pay about £6 a kilo. It's now £20 a kilo. So, obviously my prices of ground bait had to go up a little bit. I don't promote I don't sponsor anyone now like I used to. Because obviously the prices just shot up. But aniseed is great, as you know. It attracts definitely roach. Mix it with fish meal, it attracts bream. Take my word for it. Okay, lads. I think we'll call that a day now. I've been on you again over an hour. So hope you enjoyed it. As I say, I'll keep these going every Monday, and even when I go to Thailand, I'll see if I can try and get a time where I can do a Q&A. Because it's always there's loads of questions to ask about about fishing generally. And as I said, over the last 50 years, I got a lot of experience behind me, so I can pass it on to you. More than happy to. Okay, and don't forget, get one of these. Okay. Slammer, deep throat disgorger. Okay, it's a must for every angler, and I talked about it last week, and I thought I'd just mention it again because I want to see one of these in every angler's draw. Okay then. Okay, Gary, nice one, mate. Okay, thanks for that. I'll keep them going. Robbie, thanks, mate. Thanks for that. Great chatting. Yeah, thanks, Stuart. Thanks, mate. Okay, thanks for everyone who's been on here. And as I say, tight lines. Next week, as I say, I'll be fishing at Y Sunday. Whether I get any fishing in before, if I do, I'll make a vlog of it, of course. And don't forget my latest vlog about beginners. I mean, I reposted it, and it is interesting because even I watched it and I made it. So there you are. Anyway, nice to see you all. See you all again next time. And if not, if I don't, I'll hope to see you on the bank one day, and we'll have a chat then. Okay, thanks. Ta-ra.